In the 2025 playoffs, the Pacers pulled off one of the greatest playoff runs in NBA history. Being a 50-win team that was 2 years removed from not even making the postseason, the Pacers shockingly did upset after upset after upset. They beat the 64-win Cavs and the Knicks to make it to the finals, where they had to face off a powerful Thunder squad with some of the best defense and offense of the league. It seemed like the odds were stacked up against the Pacers. OKC had the league MVP in SGA, Holmgren, J. Will, and Lu Dort. However, the Pacers defied all expectations. They forced the eventual champions to a Game 7, with Haliburton leading the way with his clutch moments. But then, as we all know, Game 7 started with Haliburton's Achilles injury. The Pacers lost their nail-biting halftime lead, and the Thunder closed it out. Since then, the Pacers have experienced one of their most unfortunate times in franchise history. They're last in the league in terms of record. Haliburton is out for the entire season, and injuries have been nagging players like Bennedict, Mathurin, and Toppin. And things aren't getting much better for Indiana either, at least for now. With the 2026 draft coming up, there's a high chance of the Pacers getting a decent pick, maybe even the number 1 spot. Let's take a look at the 2026 Pacers roster and highlight their key weaknesses. One of the black holes that popped up during the preseason was when Miles Turner, who was valuable to the Pacers defense while also being a decent 3-point shooter, left the Pacers in free agency to join the Bucks. Turner was a former DPOY candidate who was a blocks per game leader in 2019 and 2021, and was also the longest tenured Pacer in the 2025 roster. In terms of impact compared to the previous season, the Pacers' defensive rating wasn't hit as sharp as other metrics. Without Turner, the Pacers dropped 6 spots from 13th place last year, and are now among teams like the Trailblazers, who are in contention for the play-in right now. There is one thing the 2026 Pacers are elite at: 3-point defense. The Pacers are actually second in the league and only behind the Dallas Mavericks. In the previous season, the Pacers were 11th. However, when you go past the defensive rating, things get really bad. Going to offensive rating, the Pacers are dead last with a rating of 108.7. They are the only team in the league right now to have a rating in the 100s. The Pacers' net rating is negative 8.3, third worst in the league and only ahead of the Kings and Wizards. When Haliburton was on the court, he carried the offense in the Pacers' pace and space system. They had a positive net rating, which was one of the main reasons they comfortably made it to the playoffs. To make matters worse, the Pacers are having a hard time with shooting efficiency. If we take a look at true shooting percentage, once again the Pacers rank last at 55.0%, 1.2% worse than the Kings, who are at second worst. The final category the Pacers are last at is effective field goal percentage at 51.1%. Moving on to injuries, the Pacers, as of writing this video, have 4 players on the list. Number 1 is of course Haliburton, but 2 players to note are Bennedict, Mathurin, and Toppin, who have been nagged. Mathurin has missed half of the games this season so far because of his thumb injury, and this is especially important when Mathurin is more on the younger side. Being 23, he's at the early part of his prime, and the Pacers would benefit from his development. Last season, Mathurin was 3rd in points per game, as he was one of their main scoring options, so without him, the Pacers now have to resort to Johnny Furphy and Jarius Walker. While they've shown flashes, their impact isn't as bright. Another block that has been pushing the Pacers back is their lack of depth at shooting guard. While they have 7 players on SG, their starter in Ben Shepherd is only averaging 6 points on just 31.5% efficiency from 3PT in 22 minutes of action. With the rest of the SGs, 2 of them are on 2-way contracts, Talon Peter and Ethan Thompson. They are not exactly starting caliber players and would need significant improvement. You have Mac McClung, and while he is known for being that dunk contest winner from a few years back, he has only taken part in 3 games. Then there's Garrison Matthews, still not a starting caliber player, but he's also one who shows flashes. For example, on December 1st, he scored 15 points on 3 for 3 from 3PT. For the other positions, Pascal Siakam is really the only all-star candidate right now, but with his supporting cast being cut off slightly and injured Mathurin and Haliburton, it can lead to moments where Siakam just can't get the help the team deserves. At center, Jay Huff has been showing some promise. Coming off the bench, he is averaging 2.1 blocks in 19 minutes, and he is the best shot blocker by far. Huff has some potential, and ever since he moved from the Grizzlies to the Pacers, Huff has been impressive. Huff is actually the only player to average over a block a game. The rest of the core from 2025 remains unchanged. You've still got Nembhard, McConnell, and Isaiah Jackson. These issues with the Pacers that I've been talking about, you don't need to watch the games to tell the state of the Pacers, but when you watch the highlights and analyze the footage, things get even worse. Earlier this season, in a game against the Pistons, here you can see Siakam inbounding, but once he drives, you'll then notice that he just doesn't have any help defenders. And because that's the case, Siakam is being doubled, and the window for a good shot closes. That double team could have easily been mitigated, but instead it's yet another opportunity to capitalize for the Pistons. To make matters worse, the Pistons are the #1 seed in the conference, and are second in defensive rating. Here is another problem that the Pacers have dealt with. In this play, Siakam goes for a drive, but he's being heavily contested, so he's going to have to resort to passing to a teammate. However, said teammates didn't get out and start running where Siakam and others could thrive in chaos before defense settled back in. At the end of this play, Siakam is back to inconvenient state, and since his shot is heavily contested, it easily misses. It seemed like Siakam was free for a bit, but now life's once again hard for him to score against opponents. Sorry, Siakam. The Pacers are possibly on track to have the worst record in the franchise's history. Currently, the record for the worst Pacers record is all the way back from 1982-83, when rookie Carl Kellogg couldn't stop the game from only winning 20 games. Right now, the Pacers are 10-35, which is a win percentage of 22.2%. The 1982-83 season I mentioned had a percentage of 24.4%. If they keep going at this rate, it's gonna be a Hall of Shame season for Indiana. The arsenal of injuries and problems the Pacers currently have right now are some of the biggest bottlenecks of their season. While the Pacers have plenty of future first-round picks and somewhat of a bright future, especially in players like Mathurin, you can't deny that the Pacers went from nearly on top of the world 7 months ago to the bottom of the iceberg in one of the fastest downfalls I have ever seen. And we'll have to wait and see if Haliburton has been derailed from his injury. Hopefully not, but you can't guarantee that. Anyways, I'm some random Xander, and this is it. Goodbye.